showed her how I live. I just killed that kitty, put that pussy in a spliff. Every L I took, you know I took it on the chin. Ooh.
Sorry about that. I've been talking into a muted microphone again. Right, can you hear me now? A few bars there from the man himself. Every L you took, you know I took it on the chin. He's living out in Dubai right now. I just watched this Lawrence Okolie interview. Did you see it? He living out in Dubai. Does the Dubai man them know that Lawrence Okolie is hiring, yeah, people to wear this kind of clothing and sunglasses for his music videos? What in the bumper is this guy doing though? Look. I hope no one from Dubai sees this video though. Look. Look at these dudes he's got in the background though. Paying to wear this stuff though. He's got a bunch of brothers dressed up in Arabian gear, yeah? And sunshades. This man's now living with this guy. Looks like a hostage video though. Don't lie. Press one if you agree though. Does this bit not look like a hostage video though with Okolie? I'll lie or not, look. Who's that dude in the background? Looks like he's about to take a machete in it and chop off Okolie's head. This guy's an idiot. Okolie. He's an idiot. Every L you took, you know I took it on the chin. Right. I believe you can hear me loudly and clearly. This is video number 2 of the day. Big up LD Phoenix. What time is it? The Nets are playing in an hour's time, so I can't be too long with this. I believe we've got Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Ben Simmons. Big up Brooklyn. LD Phoenix says Yard Baturbia predictions. I'm going with Yard. First round knockout. Now let's talk about Okolie. This is unbelievable, you know. One of the best interviews that you'll see this year, right at the end of the year. Boxing King Media interviewing, yeah? 2 Sisters himself. He's interviewing Mr. 2 Sisters himself, you feel me? Okolie. 2 Sisters, what you want to do in it? Like, Boxing King Media asked Lawrence Okolie a lot of good questions, but he didn't ask Lawrence Okolie about his rap career. Lawrence Okolie, if you're listening to this, I'd love to have you on the show because I want to ask you some questions, yeah, about some of these bars that you'd be spitting. 2 bad bees in a runster. Who are these 2 bad bees in a runster, Lawrence Okolie? I'd love to know that. Who are these 2 bad bees in a runster? And who are these 2 sisters? That's what I want to know, Lawrence Okolie. Who is these 2 sisters? Because last time, because I swear when you made that music video, you was with Mrs. Banks. Isn't it Lawrence Okolie, like? The man snitching on himself. Am I not lying? Okolie. When Okolie made that video though, weren't he in a relationship with Miss Banks? And all of a sudden, that relationship ended. Look, I got on the video here, look. Weren't Okolie in a relationship with Miss Banks? Next minute, Okolie's out in Dubai talking about 2 sisters. Man went and gone snitched on himself. Okolie. That's what happened, didn't it? Okolie done snitched on himself. One minute he's wifing up Miss Banks. Next minute he out in Dubai talking about 2 sisters. Mrs. Banks came home from work and said, "Hey Lawrence, who are these 2 bad bees in a runster?" Lawrence is like, "Oh shit." She must have packed her suitcase and gone. Anyway, Lawrence Okolie has left Matchroom. Yeah? Mr. 2 Sisters himself. I have to say, it was a very, very good interview from Boxing King Media. And I thought Lawrence Okolie came across very, very well in the interview. Obviously being very, very diplomatic. It comes across to me, I could be completely wrong, yeah? But it comes across to me that Lawrence Okolie might still be on some kind of gag by lawyers, you know. I don't know if you guys have seen the interview, but for any of you who have sent the interview, or if any of you have seen the interview, let me just check. Is my microphone working okay? I'll change it quickly. Hold on. Is that okay? Just let me know if the microphone's okay. I'll adjust it a bit because recently it's been a bit dodgy and I've been messing with the gain settings on it. So let me know if that's okay. But I thought Okolie came across very, very well in it, but it does seem to me like there's certain things that he can't say about what went on with Matchroom. And it seems to me like there is some kind of gagging order that might still be on Okolie. And Okolie said that during his interview, didn't he? He said that he was getting threatening letters from lawyers telling him that he can't say this in public and he can't say. And this is one wild story. So, according to Lawrence Okolie's mode of events, as you can see here, let me just flip up the screen a minute so we can get the screen nice and right. Shouldn't be having pictures of Lawrence Okolie, ex-girlfriend, up on here, but let me just here we go. The main man himself. There's Okolie there. Look, there you go. There's Okolie with his grill. There you go. That's a nice little picture, yeah, for you there. We got Okolie there with his grill in the background, gold grill, yeah. So, Mr. Gold Grill himself, right? Apparently, he was out of contract with Matchroom, right? He fulfilled all his contractual obligations. He had all the fights he was supposed to have. He then got an offer, which we believe is from Ben Shalom and Sky, yeah? And that offer beat what he was getting paid by Matchroom. He thought he was out of contract. He said, I'm a free agent. I'm going to go and take the biggest offer, right? Apparently, according to what Okolie is saying in his video, and press 1 if I've got this right, or press 2 if I've misunderstood. This is hilarious. According to Okolie, when he informed Matchroom that he didn't want to extend his deal with them, he received a better offer and he was going to go elsewhere. Matchroom then turned around and told Lawrence Okolie that you can't leave because there was no boxing during COVID or something, or because boxing was shut down during COVID, you didn't have a fight you're supposed to have. So basically, we've extended your contract or something. Did you hear this shit? Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. He said that they agreed that he was out of contract and they were talking about renewing the deal. They took ages to decide what they were going to offer him. In the meantime, he got offered a better deal than what Matchroom were offering him. When he went to Matchroom and said, look, guys, you've run out of time. I'm out because I've got a better deal. They then turned around and tried to do some fucking crazy loophole involving COVID, because British boxing was suspended, wasn't it, during the period of COVID. And I think Matchroom basically tried to say, because British boxing was suspended during a period during COVID, right? Your contract, yeah, you didn't fulfill your contract because you were supposed to have a fight during a certain period, but you didn't have it because of COVID. There was some kind of crazy shit. And they were trying to say his contract had extended itself by a year or by a fight without his knowledge. So the whole time Lawrence Okolie was sitting there thinking he was out of contract, yeah? Matchroom turned around and said, well, actually, no, you're not out of contract because boxing was stopped during COVID and there's this loophole and that loophole. So actually, we've got another fight with you. I mean, it was absolutely crazy. Yes, Dimitri. And this is what the point I'm going to make next. Matchroom then turned around and told Lawrence Okolie, you can get out of your contract, but you need to pay us $500,000 to get out of a contract that didn't fucking... Because don't forget now, yeah? If what Okolie is saying is correct, Okolie is saying that at the time Matchroom was sending threatening legal letters to him and telling him that there was some kind of loophole due to COVID, which meant that his contract had automatically extended itself, or that he was somehow still under contract, right? In the time that they were sending him all these threatening letters, he said that he didn't have adequate legal representation. If you listen to the interview, that's what he said. He said, at the time, they were threatening me with all these letters. I didn't have the same legal representation that I have now. He went and spoke to some lawyers, yeah, and got some proper legal representation. And he said that the lawyers basically told him that, you know, your contract can't just be extended like that without your knowledge and without your permission. It has to be a two-way process. Am I getting that right? As to what Okolie said in the video, I think Okolie specifically said that his new lawyers or his new legal team have basically solved the case and told him that no, your contract just can't extend itself in that way. Or what Matchroom is saying about COVID doesn't mean that your contract's extended itself, because it takes two to tango. Like, you have to be notified of that. You have to agree to that. You have to maybe put a signature to that. It has to be a two-way process. They can't just fucking turn around. They can't just fucking turn around and say to you, by the way, nah, you didn't know this, but your contract's been extended by another year because of this or that, or you owe us another fight. The stuff he was talking about is fucking crazy. Imagine that. Imagine thinking, yeah, that you're out of contract and then you're fielding offers from other promoters. And then as soon as your promoter finds out you've been made a better deal, Instead of matching, and you know what the funny thing was? And I think this is why Okolie got so angry. Like, Matchroom are always flaunting money. Is that correct? Aren't Matchroom the ones who are always flaunting money? Like, didn't they come out, as Okolie said? Okolie himself said this. Didn't they come out and say they had $1 billion deal with DAZN, right? I knew that bullshit would come back to haunt Eddie Hearn. Didn't Eddie Hearn come out and say that he had a $1 billion deal? Then she's saying, pull something up, I can give you a timestamp. All right, then give me the timestamp then. Just, I've got the video right here. Look, Eddie Hearn Raw. Eddie Hearn tells all on $1 billion streaming platform. Eddie Hearn announces $1 billion deal. So this Okolie himself is saying this in an interview. None of what this guy's saying makes sense, right? The guy's claiming he signed $1 billion deal. He can't match an offer who we're all guessing is from Ben Shalom and Sky, yeah? The man claims to have $1 billion, but he can't match a deal from Ben Shalom, right? Which sets off red flags to begin with anyway, right? When he finds out he can't match the offer from Ben Shalom and Sky, or from whoever it was, he then tries to trap Okolie into an imaginary contract to get him to fight for the same money. Can you imagine why Okolie was angry? Like, he didn't even have the decency to try and match or increase the money that he was being offered. Does that make sense? According to what Lawrence Okolie is saying here, they tried to get him to fight under the terms of the old deal. I mean, it's just... no, I agree, Mark. It ain't good business to overpay fighters. But to be fair, you know, all Eddie Hearn's ever done since he went to the zone in America is overpay fighters. Am I right or am I wrong about that? I mean, look at some of the purses that Jesse Vargas and Tevin Varma were getting. I mean, all Eddie Hearn's ever done since he got with the zone is overpay fighters. He's done nothing but overpay fighters. He's boasted about overpaying fighters. Nobody can pay these fighters what we can pay them. We've got £1 billion. They can't match you. What was it Frank Smith said? Frank Smith, word for word, said, sooner or later, they're all going to run out of money. That's what Frank Smith said. So, yeah, GGG, Jesus Christ. Look at that agreement that they got with Gennady Golovkin, the agreement they signed with Gennady Golovkin. And then Golovkin ended up not fighting for a significant period of time. Do you remember that? Because they were saying to Golovkin, no. It was under the terms of these deals. You have to fight this fight and that fight. And Golovkin was like, no, I don't. I can fight whoever. It was just crazy. They were doing crazy deals. So all they were doing was overpaying fighters. But anyway, look, all I'm telling you is what Lawrence Okolie said. Lawrence Okolie said he was offered more money by another promoter. He was then told that as soon as they found out that he was offered more money, they told him, they sent him threatening legal letters to basically say that he couldn't fight for anybody else. Somehow, his contract had extended itself without his knowledge, or somehow he was under contract without his knowledge. And he said he was forbidden from speaking about certain things in the media. Did you hear this? He said, do you not think this is a bit of a theme that we're hearing recently involving certain promotions? Press 1. Have you noticed that's a bit of a recent theme? That when something not nice happens, before it can get out into the media, certain individuals get sent legal letters or threats of legal action. I find that quite ironic because hasn't that always been a tool that's been used against Frank Warren? Am I right or am I wrong? Haven't people always said that Eddie Hearn's an open book, you can say what you want, he'll answer any question, it's never a problem. Frank Warren is the one who's a closed book. Frank Warren doesn't like tough questions. As soon as you ask Frank Warren a tough question, he puts legal action on you. But we seem to hear more and more cases involving situations where Matchroom Boxing and their lawyers seem to be sending letters to people telling them they can't reveal this information, they can't say that information. You know, I'm thinking about a certain individual who may have had an adverse finding in a drugs test a couple of months ago. Apparently, legal proceedings took place whereby we weren't allowed to know who that fighter was. See, it's quite interesting, isn't it? So Okolie just said, yeah. Let's have a look here. Yeah, they used COVID. Apparently, they used some kind of loophole because there was no boxing during COVID as an excuse to say that his contract was extended. They asked Okolie to pay £500,000 to buy himself out of his own contract. What do you guys think about that? Do you know what? Do you know the one good thing that happened in that interview? The one good thing that came from that interview was that Boxing King and Okolie both said the same thing about Eddie Hearn that I've been saying. They both said that Eddie Hearn is on record as saying if a fighter wants to leave Matchroom, he won't stop them from leaving. Did you hear that in an interview? I've been saying that forever. I remember Eddie boasting about that years ago. Couldn't find the video. Big up, Tony. I couldn't find a video, but I remember Eddie Hearn boasting about that, saying, look, you know, if a fighter doesn't want to be with Matchroom, then that's it. They don't want to be with Matchroom. There's no point in me wasting my time with them. That's basically what he said. And now he's changed his tune. Now he's asking Okolie. He wanted Okolie to pay £500,000 out of his new deal to be released from his contract from Matchroom. And do you know what the worst thing about this is? It seems like, from what I've heard in that interview, let me know if I'm wrong. I haven't heard Eddie Hearn's side of the story yet, but from what Okolie's saying in his interview, he's out of contract. He's right. He was right. His fight's going to purse bids. Whoever wins the purse bid, he'll fight on their promotion. Press 1 if I got that right. Press 2 if I got that wrong. So as far as I'm aware, like, Okolie was right. Like, he's out of contract. There is no contract. Like, his lawyers have been onto it, and his lawyers have proven that all the threatening letters he was getting from lawyers, all that bullshit he was being told about COVID and how his contract had magically extended itself, is all a load of rubbish. Thank fuck for Lawrence Okolie's lawyers. Can you imagine if Lawrence Okolie didn't have the money to get adequate legal representation? Or could you imagine if Lawrence Okolie was in debt, or Lawrence Okolie had financial problems and he didn't have the financial money to fight this, and he ended up having to give Matchroom £500,000 out of his new deal to buy himself out of an imaginary contract that apparently doesn't exist? If I've understood this correctly. If I've misunderstood that, I'll take that back. But from what Okolie's saying is, they didn't have a case. He's out of contract. Thank fuck Lawrence Okolie managed to get the correct legal representation. Because if Lawrence Okolie didn't get the correct legal representation, if Lawrence Okolie had given in to the threatening letters that were being sent to him by Matchroom, telling him you can't tell anybody what's going on, you can't talk about what's going on in the public, you're under contract, Okolie could have ended up costing himself $500,000 to get himself out of an imaginary fucking contract. Jesus fucking Christ. Bizarre, isn't it? That's what I want to know. I'll have to have a look at Eddie Hearn's interview, but that's the question that I would just like to ask Eddie Hearn. I mean, someone could ask him, like, you sent Lawrence Okolie these letters saying he was under contract, right? And you told Lawrence Okolie if he wanted to get out of his current deal, he'd have to pay $500,000 to get out of it. Is it true that you were in the wrong and that Lawrence Okolie was in fact not under contract and that you got it wrong? If you did get it wrong, how do you feel? How do you feel about potentially taking £500,000 away from a boxer who's risking his life in the ring for a contract that didn't even exist? Does that make sense? Maybe I'm barking up the wrong tree. Mark, am I barking up the wrong tree with that on my right? What do you think? Matchroom need a clause in the contract to stop fighters just walking out during contract. Yeah, but Mark, let me know if I'm wrong, Mark. From what Okolie said, he's not under contract. So apparently his legal team have looked into it. And do you know what he said? I've even got it here written down. Do you know what he said, Okolie? And he specifically said this during the interview. Okolie said, he actually said this in an interview. He said, Matchroom privately admitted that they didn't have a contract with him. But in public, they continued to say he was under contract. That is flat out what Lawrence Okolie said in his interview. He flat out said that. He said one of the reasons why he was so frustrated and why he sent those fucking stupid tweets about comparing Eddie Hearn to a slave owner. So the reason why he was sending these tweets, he was why he was getting frustrated, was because privately, he said specifically, I have emails and text messages from Matchroom admitting and saying that I ain't under contract. But then they're going in public and they're telling people I'm under contract. That's what he said. I might have to try and find the timestamp for this, you know. Does anybody know the timestamp for that? If anybody knows the timestamp for that, let me know. Because I can't play the whole video, but because I've got a feeling people are going to try and doubt me on that. But I'm pretty sure, I'm very, very sure he specifically said that in the video. And if somebody wants to find out for me and let me know. I'm specifically sure it might be around this between 11 minutes and 13 minutes in the contract. He specifically said that in private, they were giving him indications that he wasn't under contract. But in public, they were saying a different story. If I've got that wrong, Eddie, I apologise. And I will apologise as well. That whole situation is bizarre. Bizarre. And he addressed also, Eddie Hearn said, I didn't want to let him go under contract because I've lost a lot of money on him or something like that. That's what he said. He said, I didn't want to let Lawrence go because I was losing money on him. And then Lawrence correctly said, well, if you're losing so much money on me, why don't you just let me go? If you're losing all this money on me, why don't you stop taking losses and let me go? Which makes sense, right? I mean, even if Lawrence Okolie had one more fight with Matchroom, who is it going to be? Who is his last fight going to be? This guy he's fighting now. I mean, is that a blockbuster million pound fight? Is that the kind of fight that Matchroom would make back all their lost millions on Okolie? It's not like he's getting in the ring with Canelo Alvarez, is it? Do you know what I mean? It's not like Matchroom were about to put him in the ring with Canelo Alvarez and make back all the money they'd ever lost on Okolie, isn't it? It's just bizarre. Like, if you're losing that much money on Okolie and he believes he's out of contract and his lawyers are telling you he's out of contract, why not just let him go? Why didn't you want to let him go because I'm losing money? Why don't you stop losing money? What do you guys think? Do you buy that? Do you buy that? It's funny, isn't it? Because it's the exact same stuff that he always criticised Frank Warren for. And the funny thing is, right? People need to remember what happened with Ricky Burns. A lot of people criticise, Frank Warren and Ricky Burns and stuff. I could have sworn that when Frank Warren and Ricky Burns went to court, let me know if I'm wrong about this, but when Frank Warren and Ricky Burns went to court, the judge found that there was in fact a breach of contract. Do you remember that? When Eddie Hearn was signing Frank Warren fighters 20 years ago. Do you remember that? When there was legal problems because Frank Warren had fighters under contract. And Eddie Hearn was basically getting fighters who were already under contract. Let me put the allegedly word in. Allegedly, Matchroom Boxing were having fighters who were already under contract with Frank Warren sign contracts with them. I'm going to get that up. I'm pretty sure. I know Frank Warren, he lost his claim for damages, but I'm pretty sure that the judge admitted the judge said that yes, he was he did actually breach contract, and there was a breach of contract. I'll try and find that. We'll try and find that. I'm not saying everything was done. I'm not saying anything anti about Ricky Burns and everything has been done over the book. I'm just saying I'm pretty sure that the court judged that there was in fact a breach of contract. I'll find something out on that. I'll find something out about that. Right. Ultra, can you send me your computer specs? This is an old PC. I'm going to buy a new one actually. Possibly soon. This PC's old as hell. I need to buy a new one. A good PC cost about two or three grand. But I don't make them myself. So yeah, I don't know how you guys felt about it anyway. I mean, it just feels to me like boxing is cyclical, isn't it? Boxing is cyclical. Sometimes in boxing, what goes around comes around. And it's funny, isn't it, how Eddie Hearn started. When he started, there was all kinds of legal problems because he was signing fighters that appeared to be under contract with somebody else. And it looks like, now that he could be going through the same thing himself. So I find that very, very interesting indeed. But yeah, Lawrence Okolie, thank goodness he got the right legal representation, or he would have lost himself £500,000. I might have to have a look at Eddie Hearn's interview on IFL TV about that and see what he's got to say for himself. But that interview with Okolie was very, very eye-opening. And to be honest, you know what? Yeah, I can actually understand the reason why Okolie actually did that slave owner tweet, to be honest. Fair play to him. Absolutely fair play. Someone in the comment section on IFL TV says, imagine if AJ tried to leave. Jesus fucking Christ almighty. This is interesting. What do you guys think about this? From what Okolie said, it sounds like 258 management are the issue and that they signed him up for the extra fight with Matchroom without telling him. Maybe something could happen with 258 management. It is what it is. Oh, Jesus, look at this crap. Look. Truest statement about loyalty from Okolie. Hearn and Matchroom are loyal to the bottom line. And oh, yeah, I get it. Yeah, he's right. Yeah, Hearn and Matchroom are loyal to the bottom line. That's it. So there you go. There you go. There you go. I don't really like talking about ticket sales, purses and deals, but it's been a hell of a year for Matchroom, isn't it? I have to be honest with you. It's been a hell of a year. Like, some of the stories that have come out about them have been really murky shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, really murky. Obviously, we had the whole Conor Benn thing. You know, the Conor Benn situation with multiple adverse findings and tests, and then people getting gagging orders and threats being made to the British Boxing Board of Control, threatening the British Boxing Board of Control with legal action and all this crazy shit. And then this, Lawrence Okolie. They tried to tell him that he needed to pay £500,000 out of his own money to get out of a fucking contract that, according to him, never existed. Serious question marks have to be asked. Can I ask you a question? It's been assumed that Okolie is going to end up with Sky. Am I a Frank Warren homo for saying this? But why isn't he signed with Queensberry? No, I'm being serious, because he's saying in this interview that his plans to move up to heavyweight. Well, he's got fights there with Dubois, and he's got a fight there with Joe Joyce ready for him if he wants to move up there. Press 1 if you think I'm on something, press 2 if you're not. I mean, is he sure he wants to sign some kind of deal with Sky? I'm just saying, like, if he does want to sign with Queensberry, there's a fight with Daniel Dubois for him right there. For an interim world title. Well, what's the interim world title worth? Well, the thing is, if he gets Daniel Dubois' interim world title, then I'd imagine he'd get some kind of big ranking, wouldn't he? What's there? I mean, the fact that Joseph Parker signed for Sky, yeah? Joseph Parker signed for Sky. And within about 3 weeks of signing for Sky, he ended up fighting on BT Sport. Didn't that happen for a reason? Ah, yes, crazy. He can't fight Dubois because of Shane. Yes, he's with Shane for now. Whether he'll be with Shane for the future, we'll see. But that's a good point. What do you think, though, about that? I don't know, man. It's like... There's a fight with there's some fights in Queensberry waiting for him right there in heavyweight. BT Sport. I mean, I don't know how Ben Shalom's doing these days. Big up Tony. He's saying, yeah, people just looking for a reason to hate on your back. Oh, I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that. I was hearing all kinds of stories about how they're gonna come and counter me. Fucking hell, deluded, mate. Because I'm throwing a touch jab. What these muppets don't understand, Tony, is you see that touch jab I'm throwing. They think I'm throwing that touch jab at their head. Just between me and you, I'm throwing that jab that I'm throwing is covering their lead hand. I'm using lead hand control. I'm not throwing that jab at their head. And they're talking about, oh, I walked through that jab. That's a pity patter jab. The funny thing is, mate, that jab won't touch your head. That jab, I'm pouring at your lead hand to stop you from jabbing. That's what I'm doing, bro. I'm pouring at that lead hand to stop you from jabbing. I ain't jabbing at you. I'm stopping you from jabbing so I can set you up for the left hand as you walk in. Yeah, I'll drop the link, Tony. 1 sec. Yeah, Games You Love says, Okolie the face of Sky Boxing. Let me just turn my headphones on so I can hear Tony. Just give me a sec. There's the link, Tony. Let me just turn my headphones on. Power on. Sorry, guys. It's been one of them things, innit? Let me get this thing on. Man, Tony's quick. Give me a sec, Tony. Give me a sec. Let me just set my headphones up. This man's quicker than me. Okay. Wagwan. Can you hear me? You're unmuted, Tony, but... hold on. Can everybody hear Tony? It might be my 1 second. No. Can you guys hear me or Tony? Let me know. I can't hear Tony talking. He sounds like he's muted. Yeah, you can't hear Tony. He's muted. Tony, you're muted for some reason. And I have no idea why. Hold on, it crashed. Okay, come back in a minute. I'm going to beat you out. Come back, yeah? I'm going to kick you and just come back. Okay, it's fine. We can't hear Tony, but he'll come back. That's cool. Toby Players, yeah! I couldn't understand the comments on that bag video. People, what did you think, Tony? Just be honest. What did you think, Toby? Just be honest. I might have to come and see you, innit? Listen, Toby, the thing is, yeah, I don't want people to know my identity, innit? That's the only thing, but we'll see, innit? We'll see. I don't want any cameras on me because there's too many whack jobs. But I might have to come and see you, innit, Toby, innit? For this beating that you've been promising to give me. I might have to see you, innit? But we'll talk about that another time. But what do you think about that? But anyway, what do you guys think about where should Okolie go? While we wait for Tony to come back on and give us his views and stuff. What do you think about where Okolie should go? Someone said Okolie and White. That's a great fight, but where's that going to happen on DAZN? Well, listen, maybe to be fair to Okolie, it sounds like he's open to fighting with Matchroom again on a fight-by-fight basis if the money's right. So I don't think it's a case of, Okolie will never fight under the Matchroom banner again. Seems like, he's all right with Eddie Hearn to a degree now, and that he's happy to do business. It looks like Okolie just says, look, he wants to fight for the highest bidder, doesn't he? He wants to be a free agent, a gun for hire. Someone's saying, Balaj says Ryakapor smokes Okolie. 1 second, let me get Tony in. Unmute yourself, Tony. I can hear you, bro. I can hear you.
Oh, all right. So I only got about 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 minutes, but we'll speak about what I saw from my eyes, okay?
Okay.
So for everybody listening, this is what I want y'all to do. So the first thing I look at is feet. Feet for me is the most important thing to whether somebody knows what they're doing, ever knew what they were doing or not. Now, if you look at his lead foot, right, it's always where his jab is going. So almost think about the tip of the toe of the lead foot like a laser pointer. And you can see his jab hand is going over the top of his foot. Also, when he switches angles, you never see his feet cross. The one thing you don't want to do is bring one leg across the other because you get off balance. If you get hit, you could go down. Not that it hurt, but because you're off balance. So he's good at shifting his weight. See how he drags that back foot around where he just froze it? So that's what you want to do. Also, when you see him skipping like he just did, watch his tippy toes. He's always got one foot dragging. Whether it's the back foot or the front foot, he's never off the ground completely. He's always got a leg planted. So looking at his feet, you can see a little bit of rust, but overall, I'm not seeing anything that stands out like he's never thrown a punch before. Secondly, like whether there's power behind the jab or not doesn't really matter because he's touching the bag. He's not really twisting into it, putting full force power. Those are just touches. So like a little touch jab, or basically what a touch jab does, what he's doing right now is two things. One, it blinds the opponent so you can bring that straight like he just did to the body behind it, or it can keep you off balance so you can't let your shots go. It's just a little quick touch, not meant to hurt you. But again, the only thing I would say negative that I really see is when you switch angles, you don't back away from the bag enough. So you could like switch right into their power if they're countering. But overall, I mean, I like the fact that you can see Ultra, whenever he's touching the bag, he's always moving. A lot of people that are inexperienced, they stand in front of the bag, they never move. You can see he's moving constantly, which simulates somebody in front of you, because if you stay still, stay on the line, that's how you get counted. So again, like overall, I'm not seeing what they're talking about. Like it doesn't look bad. Again, right here, you can really see the toe where he's even like, look at the jab. Whenever he jabs, notice the front toe is touching the ground at the same time the jab hand's touching the bag. That tells you that he's thrown punches before, because that's the proper way to throw a jab. You don't throw a jab with your foot on the ground. You're almost stepping and bow. The same time that tippy toe touches, you're hitting the bag. Bow, bow, releasing. And on his recoil, look, gloves automatically come back to chin. So yeah, I don't see what they see. So that's all I really had to say about my breakdown.
Thank you, Tony. I really appreciate that, bro. Listen, it means a lot, man. I'm actually self-taught. I've had 0 fights and I taught myself. I'm not joking. I actually taught myself how to box. I was in the gym with a coach, but I actually taught myself how to box. There's a story about that. I'll tell you another time. The story is, me and the coach don't get along because, I'll tell you another time. I did listen to him when I taught myself, and he don't like it. And he don't like it to this day. till this day,
hey,
seriously.
Hey, Ultra, I'm gonna listen to you from the sideline. I gotta take a shower, but I'm gonna listen to you from the shower. But
I appreciate you, brother.
Tell me another time. I'm curious to hear the story about you and the coach. I would find it funny. But again, to the people listening, yeah, I don't see what they're talking about other than he's not throwing power shots. But hitting a heavy bag isn't always about power. It's about endurance, training, moving, and that's what he's doing. But yeah, I'm gonna listen from the sideline. Thanks for letting me on.
Appreciate you, brother. There you go. Well, you hear it from Tony. There you go. Tony said it himself. He knows a lot more about boxing than me. Should I tell you something? The best, other than Tony's giving me some great advice. Do you know what the funny thing, right? Tony's advice ain't too dissimilar to some advice I got. I'm going to tell you. I actually got some advice from Prince Patel, which is really good advice from Prince Patel. Prince Patel said to me, when you exit the bag, don't exit tall. And that was really, really great advice from Prince Patel. He said to me, when you exit, don't exit tall. So when I come away from the bag, sometimes I'm too tall. And Prince Patel's telling me, when you come out low. So change your level on the way out. Don't come up tall. Because sometimes when I'm coming away from the bag, I'm coming up tall with my chin in the air. And this is why it's really good to video yourself sometimes. Because there's lots of things that, I never even thought about that before. Because like I said, I'm a self-taught boxer, really. To be honest, I taught myself how to box, really. I went into a boxing gym at 27. So I've been doing it for on and off for about 10 years. And I was shown a basic stance by a coach, but I then modified it myself, basically. I changed it all up myself, innit? I didn't like what the coach was teaching me, innit? So I've kind of done things my own way, and that's kind of the reason why I've fallen out with some high-profile coaches that you guys may be aware of, because I like to do things my own way, to be honest, and it is what it is. That's wrong, by the way. That's wrong, but it is what it is. Anyway, yeah, he wasn't happy. He wasn't happy at all. Yeah, that's why we fell out, because he would tell me stuff, and then I'd be like, okay, and then he'd be upset with me, innit? But it is what it is. But you know what it is? I go to the gym, yeah, and I have a look at how the fighters are fighting. And I'm quite defensive. Like I said, I'm not a boxer. I'm not like a fighter. I haven't had any fights, but it's a weird one, isn't it? I haven't had any fights, but I'm probably good enough to fight. Do you know what I mean? It is what it is. It's a weird one. We'll talk about it another time. I don't want to start bigging myself up, but I appreciate that. It's a lot harder than it looks, That's why when we say to people, oh, by the way, Toby, PG's meant to be uploading a video of himself, Toby. PG? PG is meant to show me a video of him sparring, and he asked you, Ultra, I'm going to send you the video of me sparring. Let me email PG quickly. One sec. I ain't got his email no more. PG said to me on the last show, Toby, he said, Ultra, I've got a video for you. I'm gonna hit him up, PG. Where is he? I can't find him. I'll find him in a bit. PG said, yeah, Ultra, I've got a video of my sparring. So, it is what it is. Yeah, PG, yeah. He spars in Miguel's, didn't he? Was it Miguel's? PG spars in Miguel's or Peacock's, one of the two. He's like, yeah, I've got sparring for you, Ultra. I wait to give me some advice. He never sent me the video. So, PG, if you listen, I'm waiting for that video, bro. Coach wanting light sparring at the end of a bag session. Who was that? Who was that? Ultra, you didn't say... Ultra, didn't you say the coach thinks you've got a good boxing IQ? Which one? I don't know. I don't know, mate. I don't know. I don't know which coach, innit? I don't know which one. I had a spar, not a light spar, but I had a spar recently. Not recently, a couple months ago, six months ago, with somebody who'd never seen me box, and I was sparring someone who was going to fight white collar, and we both put head guards, and I was a lot bigger than this guy, and I pinged him around a little bit, innit? But and he was good. I pinged him around. Oh no, Dench, the one that said you could serve. No, that's Paddy. That's Paddy Fitzpatrick. Paddy told me straight up, said you're no good when it comes to trying to win a fight, but you make a good journeyman because you're awkward. You're an awkward fighter. Yeah. Anyway, let's get off that. But I really appreciate what Tony said, because Tony knows his boxing. He knows a lot more than me. He knows it. See, this is the thing. What I might do is, if I ever get some more footage, I might send it to Tony direct and get Tony to have a look through it. But you'd be surprised. Yeah, I get some good advice. And like I said, Prince Patel, man, gave me some great advice. Prince Patel gave me some great advice, man. Told me, look, don't exit the bad tool. You'd be surprised who we talk to, man. You'd be surprised. We talk to We talk to all kinds of people, man. You'd be surprised. Small channel, but we kind of do biggish numbers for a small channel. I mean, 84 now. We had 150 on in the show earlier. You know, for a channel that's got, you know, 2,000 members. Last show we did 150. We're doing 84 now. You know, some shows we've done 800. Some we've done 500. You know how it goes. It's up and down, but we do big numbers. And you'd be surprised the kind of people who get in contact with me. You'd be surprised, man. Be surprised. You'd be very surprised. Keep telling you guys. A lot of people in boxing watch and listen. Best channels for self-teaching boxing. You should never really self-teach, really. I would never advise you to do that, really. I did it because I haven't any fights. But for me, like I said before, quickly, if you want to learn boxing, Ultra, what's the best channel to learn boxing? For me, I just think World Class Boxing channel with Tom Yankello is just amazing. To me, I just think it's a great channel. I haven't watched any of it recently, but I think this guy, World Class Boxing, this guy's legit. Like, I agree with the philosophies. I agree with the reasons why he says he does stuff. And he's a coach with it's not just about backgrounds, isn't it? It's about finding the right coach for you. It's not about finding the best coach with the biggest names. Like, a lot of people that ain't boxed, just all they know about is names. Derrick James, go to Adam Booth. Do you know what I mean? Go to Adam Booth. Nah, you need to go with somebody who fits you. You need to go with somebody who resonates with you. Because if the coach don't resonate with you, if you don't get along with the coach, yeah, then what the coach says isn't, oh yeah, Tony Jeffries is really good as well. I agree with that. Yeah, Tony Jeffries, Toby, I agree. I like Tony Jeffries. Definitely Tony Jeffries. But that's what I'm saying, like, from these dudes who got these channels and they don't box, like, they're just talking about these coaches. Have you heard them? Like, Derrick James is the coach of the year. Like, Adam Booth is the coach of the year. It's like, but you don't know nothing about coaching. Like, you don't just pick coaches off names. You have to pick someone who's going to click with you because you're spending a lot of time with these people. Press 1 if you think I'm right, press 2 if you think I'm wrong. You're spending a lot of time with somebody, man. You're spending one-on-one time with someone in the gym. Or you're spending time in the gym with somebody, man. And you have to get along with them, because if you don't get along with them, or if you don't believe in what they're saying, or if what they're saying don't make sense, then you're just not going to take it on board. If somebody says if a coach tells you to do something, you should question why the coach has asked you to do that. For me personally, if a coach told me to do something, I would just do it. I want to know why I'm doing it, and does it make sense to do it? And that's why I've fallen out with coaches in the past. Makes sense, because I've said, well, why am I doing that? Or in my head, I'm thinking, well, why am I doing that? Does that make sense? When I go into a gym, yeah, before I listen to a coach, do you know what I look at? Ingram! Let me bring the link. Ingram, you don't have to, but I'm just going to bring the link up, Ingram, just in case. Just in case. I need to get in contact with Ingram for Christmas, because I wanted to get Ingram on to do Christmas, but I've been ill. I'm not going to say why, Ingram, but I've been really ill, and I've spent quite a lot of money on private doctors. So I've been pretty inconsistent, but I'd love to get Ingram on to do a Christmas show. But let me tell you about trainers, yeah. It's about who's right for you, innit? Toby, what do you think about that, Toby, quickly? Do you think I'm right or wrong? It's not just about picking who's got the most accomplished coach. It's about who you get along with. And like I said before, one of the first things I do, yeah, LD Phoenix, when I go into the gym, is I'm looking how the other fighters are fighting. And if I see the other fighters ain't doing no defense, and if I see the other fighters are knocking 7 bells of shit out of each other and going in sparring wars and stuff, red flags start ringing for me. And I know, like, maybe that's a bad thing, but I like to see defense first. So when I see coach in there overlooking sparring, and there's guys just fucking smashing each other all over the place, and they're just walloping it. I know there comes a time where boxing's a fight you have to fight. I understand that. But if I don't see them, like, picking up on defense, if I don't see them encouraging defense first, if I don't see them tell a guy, look, man, you need to preserve your brain cells. You need to not get hit, man. Look, why are you getting hit with this same shot? Why is this happening? If I don't see that, then I get turned off, to be honest. That's me for real. I get turned off, you know. I've never really gone up to a coach. Well, that's not true, but I tend to keep myself to myself in gyms, you know. I'm not one to go up to a coach and say, give me all your time, please teach me. I'm not one to say that at all, man. I'm the guy in the corner who just does bag work by myself. Bomba Clarte, look who he is here, the man himself.
Matt, it's been a long time, bro.
Bro, I haven't been too well, but we'll talk about it another time.
Yeah,
I ain't doing too well. What's going on with you? We're just talking about my boxing, which sucks, but we're also talking about Okolie, aka the Django. Hey, this man, have you seen this man made a tweet, yeah? Portraying himself as Django and Eddie Hearn as the slave owner.
Yeah, I heard that one a while back, but it was all going off. Okolie is leaving Matchroom. AJ is deciding to find Derrick James, and what's his name? What's the boy that fought on the weekend? Teofimo Lopez needs to find a trainer because he needs to sack his dad. So it's all going off for a minute, bro.
What did you have you heard Okolie's latest interview?
I haven't heard. I was told to check it out. I was busy doing a whole praise of AJ being in Derrick James' gym.
Take this. Trust me when I say this. Matchroom wanted Lawrence Okolie to pay £500,000 to get out of his contract with them. And it turns out, according to Okolie and Okolie's legal team, that he was right all along and he never had a contract with them. And now he's a free agent. And I was saying it's just as well that he got legal representation. Because if he didn't get the right legal representation, he'd have ended up paying £500,000 to get out of a contract, which according to him, doesn't exist.
Well, no surprise there with...
And he was gagged as well. And apparently he was set threatening letters. To say that he couldn't talk about the situation, all sorts was going on, and he couldn't say what was going on.
That's no surprise. Really, no surprise. I've said it many a time that I've never been a fan of Rematch Room. I've never liked their setup. I've never been a fan of their setup. Say what you want about Frank Warren, but I'm sorry. If you give me Frank any day of the week with a shoulder roll and do me a favour, but that's where it is. So it doesn't surprise me in the slightest. And let's remember, this is the same team that brought you Dillian White and Barry Hearn to us about back in the day, slave masters, all this nonsense. So the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, does it? So I mean, yeah, it's Barry Hearn saying that the apple does not fall far from the tree. You understand? And those who feel no. You understand? I'm not, as you know, I'm not saying this from a keyboard warrior's point of view. This is somebody who has been in Matchroom vehicles, with boxers. So as inside could be, but yet not officially meant to be in those vehicles. So do you understand? You can be inside, you can see things, and you see people, and you just see how they operate and how they are, and just the way things were for me when I was in the UK and within media. I understand how these people are. So anything that comes out of Okolie's mouth is very believable, and he talked about it for a while that he wanted to leave Matchroom. So I'm not surprised. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Let me ask you about trainers. We were just talking about trainers, and I think it started when we spoke about Anthony Joshua with Derrick James and stuff. And you tell me if you agree with this. And I said the following, and we've got Tony in the comment section. Tony's an ex-amateur boxer, I think a heavyweight as well, and he's got quite a lot of experience. But we just looked at the video of me boxing, and he's giving me some tips for the heavy bag, right? And Tony says what we talked about is the following. I've said picking a trainer isn't just about picking the biggest name. I've said it's not even necessarily about picking the one with the biggest experience. I've said, for me personally, what's important to me is picking the trainer who you get along with. Because there's some trainers out there that have all the credentials in the world and they have all the accolades in the world. But if you don't get along with that coach, if you don't have a synergy with that coach, if the coach some coaches are quite straightforward, aren't they, Ingram? They've got a way of telling you almost. Some coaches are quite dictatorial, aren't they? They have a way of telling this is how it's going to be. It's my way or the highway. You do it my way, or you don't do it at all, into that. And so you tell me what you think about the personality clashes and things like that.
Well, personally, okay, two things. Well, when I was training with Barry Jones's trainer, which is Ronnie Rush. And he also trained Steve Robinson, former WBO featherweight champion in the world.
Not Steve USSR Robinson from Boxer. Carry on.
Let's not go there. And I didn't like him at all, but he was a wealth of wisdom. And I guess synergy, I knew that he was the best in for me even though I didn't like the guy. So my amateur trainer, literally, if I didn't keep my hands up, he'd get in the ring, put his gum shield in, and try to throw left hooks and try and take my head off. Right now, again, and I can't say I like that trainer either. And in fact, I can't say I liked any boxing trainer, to be honest with you, because they all, in one way or the other, was causing my body to go through certain amounts of pain when I didn't want to be at the gym. But it wasn't. It was more for me submission. To know once I could say this guy's a good trainer, but it's me. See, you have to also admit where you yourself and your characters, like, you can get people that you get along with. It doesn't mean you're going to actually train properly. Does it actually mean that they're going to get the best out of you? Does it mean that, like, because it's not like football or cricket or basketball. When you're talking about boxing, one blow to your head not only can render you unconscious, you could lose your life. So this sport is not it's not a game. So when we're talking about, like, getting on with your trainer, there's so much you can get on with your trainer, like there's a respect there to a degree, but if he's going to call me certain names and bring certain things out of me, then there's no sort of, like, it's business ultimately, because he wants to get the best out of you so you win your fight. So you might not like it.
What do you think about AJ and Derrick James then? What? Of course, you fucking interviewed Derrick James. I forgot you knew him and you interviewed him loads of times. Right? Okay, so tell me, AJ and Derrick James. How do you think that's going to go?
I think it's a brilliant setup. But there's three things that I've got concerns about. Concern number one, he won't be the numero uno in the gym. He'll be third or fourth in the gym. Because you've got Errol Spence, you've got what's his name, Charlo. You've got the other guy, it's Martin, I think, and then AJ comes in, so he won't be the big daddy bollocks. So he won't be that first and foremost. Derrick James is a wealth of knowledge. He's a former boxer, so he's a calming influence, and he will give AJ defense and will teach him the sweet science. Is AJ coachable? I don't know if AJ's coachable. He's the best trainer AJ's had in all the trainings he's had. McCracken didn't have a clue. And then
hold on a minute. Are you telling me that Derrick James is a better trainer than Clifton Mitchell and Joby Clayton? Well, hold on a minute. Joby Clayton was in the corner during the Usyk fight telling him he was doing a good job. So Joby Clayton must know something that we don't know. Ingram.
Absolutely. Totally. Must know something. So he's like, on a serious note, that I think like Derrick James would be the best trainer. He'd be an elite trainer one. That AJ's never had an elite trainer. Look at his craze. Never had an elite trainer. And people say, well, what's his heavyweight experience? Well, first of all, Derrick James was a boxer as a heavyweight, so he understands what it takes to be a heavyweight trainer. He understands what it takes to be a heavyweight fighter. Plus, he's a trainer, a quality trainer is that. And he said to me years ago when Deontay Wilder fought Luis Ortiz, I think the first time, he said, I would love to remodel Deontay Wilder. That's before he can have AJ on his doorstep. And somebody told me AJ's moving to Texas. Then, my God, I think this is brilliant stuff. But is AJ coachable? And the third thing, Romain Stavern made a very interesting point. He talked about Miami and AJ. He said that AJ should not be in Miami. It's not good for him. He spoke about the influences, the external influences, the women, the lifestyle. AJ wants to be about that sort of life. AJ, from what I'm thinking, will he be able to knuckle down and train in America, or will he get caught up with a fast life? Remember, Derrick James is a great trainer, but he's not a magician, and he's not his dad. And ultimately, if you look at Errol Spence, the great fighter there is, he was still going to fights, watching fights, being drunk, and we saw how that led to him getting into that car crash. So Derrick James is a great trainer, but that doesn't necessarily mean because he's a great trainer, he's going to look after AJ when he's outside of the gym. And AJ is going to want to be about that life.
Can I ask you, what about... Go on, carry on, then I'll ask you after this. Carry on.
And finally, the other thing about AJ is, can he admit that he's made mistakes? He has made mistakes. Not, this person made mistakes and the team and all this crap. Can you admit you've made some real mistakes in your career? You've made some really dumb moves, and now you're finally going to settle down with a genuinely world-class trainer and learn. Are you going to do that? Are you going to keep coming up with stupid excuses and upside down and right side up and option one and all sorts of other nonsense that you come out with? And, the CEO and all this nonsense. Is he actually going to settle down and actually focus on boxing? Or are you going to keep talking rubbish and I'm a throwback fighter, but I can't do 12 rounds. I'm not a 12-round fighter, but I'm a throwback fighter. Stop all that. So
that's bang on, by the way. That is absolutely. I never thought he called himself a throwback fighter and then stepped in the ring against Usyk and said he can't do 12 rounds. That don't make no fucking sense. Where's the fucking sense in that, though?
AJ doesn't make sense. I'm going to be free spirit now. What does that mean? It means I can go to any trainer. I might be one trainer, one fight, next trainer, next fight. What the hell? Nah, bro. No. I've said about 258, which I call 1-2-3 management, because
1-2-3 management, yeah. That's where Okolie comes from, but they're the one who fucked up Okolie, you see. I was saying earlier, Ingram, there's something going on in the planting down at 258, 1-2-3 management, because you got Pastor Buatsi. You got Pastor Buatsi. One minute he's paying for...
He's going to get smashed to bits. And they're going to if they match him with Callum Smith, he'll get smashed to bits, and that'll be the end of him. I'm telling you, he is a fight away from a complete disaster. He's not going to win no world title, so forget that. Waxy, he ain't winning no world title. Forget it. Sorry.
That's okay. You got Pastor Buatsi. 1 minute he's praying for fighters, isn't it? 1 minute he's saying prayers, isn't it, and preaching the good word of the Lord. The next minute he's knocking people out. So I call him Pastor Buatsi. And then you've got Lawrence Django Okolie as well. I mean, and then you've got.
Right, I'll take that. He's acting. Yeah, I'll take that.
And then you've got AJ. You've got Big Meech. I mean, that whole 258 management setup is just bizarre, isn't it?
Professor AJ.
What do you think about this? This is Tony. He's saying this about AJ. AJ is broken, and like Humpty, all the British kings couldn't put him back together again. He's mentally weak and paid too much attention to what people say. He's completely changed what he was. Do you think Derrick James is going to allow AJ to have a WhatsApp group 24 hours before the biggest fight of his career with Spencer Oliver and Gareth A. Davis in it, blow smoke up his batty? Do you think that's going to be... Does Derrick James seem like the kind of coach to allow that or not?
No, it's not that kind of... It's not. Derrick James is not about that kind of life. Derrick's going to get him on the straight... We'll want him on the straight and narrow. He's the one to cut all that shit off. I said in my video earlier, he needs to cut all that Matchroom shit off. Quite literally cut that shit off. Eddie Hearn talking the crap he talks. And AJ's got to settle down and understand what his legacy is going to be in heavyweight boxing and be about getting them belts. And being around dogs like Spence and Charlo, he might just sniff and pick up something from that, being in an elite gym. Because how the hell can you call yourself a professional fighter training in an amateur gym? I mean, who does that? You train under Klitschko. You had Klitschko as your tutor. Klitschko was the master, and you were having sparring sessions with Klitschko. How the hell do you leave from sparring Klitschko to flipping going to Sheffield and having an amateur gym and basing yourself around an amateur gym? I don't get that. I don't get that.
Hold on a minute, guy. I think you're being a bit unfair there to certain people. I don't know if you can hear this, Ingram, but you're saying that they're dogs in Derrick James's camp. I think I think Spencer Oliver's a bit of a dog. What do you think about this advice he gave to AJ after his fight with Usyk?
You outboxed the fucking best boxer in the world for rounds. You beat him at his own game. Your game plan was perfect.
Yeah, mate, you're great.
Perfect. He licked it just at the end.
Fantastic,
He
mate.
licked it at the
You're
end. Just
fucking
this
great, mate.
around.
You're
That's all it
brilliant.
was.
Yes, it's not what yeah, you are. You're great. Better than Mike Tyson. Better than George Foreman. Yeah, you're great. Oh, mate. AJ, you're brilliant, JJ. You're fantastic, mate. Brilliant. I think you boxed brilliant against Usyk, personally. Yeah,
Are you sure Derrick James don't want that kind of knowledge in his camp? Like, don't know. What do you think?
Derrick would have. Derrick is a connoisseur of boxing. He would have seen all of what AJ's been getting up to. If it wasn't by me sending YouTube videos, he would have certainly been watching by other people's videos. He's very shrewd, Derrick James. So the fact that AJ's gonna, if the rumors are true that he's gonna move out to Texas, then that's a good sign. But if he leaves Derrick James's gym to go and look for another trainer afterwards, it's a shame. It's not good.
But just a quick question. Hand on heart. Does Derrick James look like Birdman, the rapper? Do you all think he looks like Birdman? Shevin, in the chat, let me know. Derrick James. He looks exactly like Birdman.
I don't know about that. But
He looks like a gangster.
Jermaine Franklin looked like one of the guys out of Boys to Men. I swear it was probably him.
Jermaine Franklin, Boys to Men. Yo, he does, yeah. Jermaine Franklin got right. So there's no guarantee then, because you know what AJ's like. AJ's doing his he's doing his world tour, isn't he? He's probably got a few more coaches.
Never leave. Don't leave a trainer behind. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see in it. We'll see if it's going to be Derrick James again.
So, I mean, it's like options, isn't it? Options, isn't it? You got to keep options open, isn't it? You know what I mean? One, two, three.
Dillian White has released a post today. I don't know if you can see this on the screen, but if you can't, it's fine. Dillian White has released a post today, and Dillian White has said on Instagram to AJ, "Let's run it back, Ingram." That's what he's talking about. He's talking about let's run it back.
Dillian White and Danny Dubois should have a fight between who's more broken, me or you. Dillian White and Danny Dubois. Oh yeah, come on, man. Come on.
I'm not giving up on Dubois yet. I believe he can win a belt. He's not going to be a next world champion. But I believe he can win a belt.
Remember, I told you about Dubois way back. I told you about Dubois. Serenko sparred with him. I got inside information about Dubois. I heard about Dubois in the gym, quitting in the gym when Povetkin put it on him. Listen, Dubois. Sorry.
We're not sold on Dubois.
No.
Bro, so older than
bro, can you imagine if that was Deontay Wilder hitting him on the chin?
You can't let Deontay Wilder get with Dubois. Come on.
Can you imagine?
We're never going to do that, though, man. Legalised killing, can't do that.
Wow. I mean,
right.
Imagine. Wait. I tell you what, Derek Chisora versus Daniel Dubois.
Yeah, Dubois by KO.
By what KO?
But you know what? Do you know amount of fighters who say Dubois is the hardest punch they've ever been in with? There's quite a few that say that, you know. Like Lawrence Okolie, for example, has been in with Anthony Joshua, yeah, and Tyson Fury, and he said, that Dubois is legitimately the hardest punch he's ever been in with.
Yeah, but I can tell you, Dave Allen sparred with Anthony Joshua, and he told me up close, Joshua's not as strong. He's muscular, but he's not physically as strong as people would make him out to be. I remember getting them interviews and talking to Dave Allen at length about sparring Joshua when Dave Allen was still an unbeaten fighter. And I told him they're going to try and use him as a journeyman. Back then, I told him when he was unbeaten. I said, you're going to end up being a journeyman fighter. He said, what? I said, yeah, usually as a journeyman. Look what happened in the end.
Let me ask you, so Anthony Joshua, Dillian White, how does that go? I've got that to AJ inside 4 rounds. If you can't do it inside 4 rounds, retire. He's got to beat Dillian White.
Yeah. He stops Dillian White inside 4. I mean, he stops, but big but. My concern about AJ is his mental strength. I don't think AJ's ever had a problem physically. It's mental with him. But he seems to have mental issues with guys that are smaller than him, Usyk and Ruiz. I don't know why. And he seems to concede. He seems to act like a small man against small guys. Big guys you don't have as much problem with. Like, you look at it. With Ruiz, he was giving Ruiz the handing over the belt. And then against Usyk, he was treating like a tourist guide. Welcome to London. No. Yeah, we love you. Great fighters. Yeah. And then when he came out to fight Usyk, I was like, oh no. He was going out, he was waving to the crowd like he was some president. I thought, you're going to get the crap beaten out of you tonight. And we saw what happened. I mean, it sounds like I'm harsh, but it is what it is. Truly mismanaged. Honestly, he's been truly mismanaged.
Let me ask you about this. Eddie Hearn recently, we've heard Eddie Hearn. He seems to be getting back on the Deontay Wilder train again. Nobody picked up on this recently, but when Eddie Hearn was slagging off Tyson Fury's resume, right? This is Eddie Hearn at his best. He let it slip. He said the only elite fighters that Tyson Fury's fought is Vladimir Klitschko and Deontay Wilder. So after 15 years of saying that Deontay Wilder's a bum and that nobody knows who he is, he's basically now putting Deontay Wilder in a bracket of an elite heavyweight, right? Which is ironic because he's claiming he wants to put him in with Anthony Joshua. Do you think that will ever happen at any point? Do you think we'll ever really see it?
That will happen. That will not happen any name with the last name Hearn. It will not happen. It won't happen under Barry's. It won't happen under Eddie. It's more likely to happen under Boxer. What's the guy's name? Ben Shalom. If the fight's going to happen, Ben Shalom will make it happen. It won't happen under Eddie. No chance. He can't make it happen. And as they say in America, he's a joke anyway. So remember when Eddie was talking about world domination and he's going to go to America and he's going to do that, this, that, and the devil knows what. And there are people who've blown smoke up his ass in the UK. Yeah, Eddie's going to dominate the UK and he's going to dominate the US. Oh, yeah, right. See how that worked out.
I don't know what I'm going to ask Tony because I've never asked Tony before. Tony's reviews in the chat. How do you see Wilder versus AJ going? To be honest, like I said, I like Anthony Joshua, but I don't see how you can put him in a ring with Deontay Wilder. I don't see how you can do that. I don't think mentally he's in the right space at the minute. He's been, Usyk's a fantastic fighter, but I don't see any justification for putting Anthony Joshua in the ring with Deontay Wilder anytime. It's a winnable fight for him because, like I said, Wilder's damaged goods himself. But going on what we saw in them last fights, that one-punch knockout power from Wilder still looks absolutely incredible, doesn't it? I mean, it looks like the power is not left him at all. The power is absolutely frightening. It's that knockout of Hellenius. I know it's Hellenius, but that was, for me, that's frightening. Frightening because there was nothing on that shot. Frightening. There was no backlift.
Hellenius looked like he got dragged out of the audience, and somebody said, "All right, I'll tell you what, mate. Come here. I'll give you 10 grand if you can knock Deontay Wilder out." So he's all right. You know what? I'm going to charge you. He charged Deontay Wilder. There was no setup. There was no strategy. Just ran at Deontay Wilder. Just run at him. For a guy who's got amateur pedigree, experienced pro, he just ran at Deontay Wilder. So I don't understand what Hellenius was doing.
Let me ask you what before we're gonna wrap up soon, Grim. But let me ask you about the state of British boxing. I've long said that British boxing is a clown show, right? And I've been criticised for saying that.
It's an illusion. It's an illusion. Warrington lost again, didn't he?
Anthony Yarde versus Beterbiev. I'm sorry. I love to.
That is murder. That's murder. that is delayed. What are they doing? Okay, so who'd you prepare to fight Beterbiev? Or
there's no one you prepare. There's no way.
Wait. At least fight somebody who's a world-class fighter. I mean, who'd you fight to prepare? You fight a guy, you lift him off his feet with an uppercut. Who was that geezer? Where did Frank get this guy from?
I keep saying to people, it ain't just Frank though, it's Tunde, because there's no way Frank's going to Tunde, right, and telling Tunde, look, this is your fight. Tunde's agreeing to all this stuff. So listen, I really hope that Yarde wins. Let me say this now: if Yarde pulls this off, I don't care what anybody
Mate.
says. Tunde
Mate.
Ajayi is a better coach than Manny Stewart, and I will stand on that. If
Mate.
Yard wins,
Mate.
Tunde Ajayi
Mate.
is the greatest coach in boxing. If
Listen.
Yard wins that fight,
Listen,
that's unbelievable.
This
He
fight,
wins.
Petriev is liable. He could end this fight in round 1. If you
He
look
can
at
end any
Anthony
round.
Yard's last fight, if you look at his last fight, Yard in round 1, the his last fight, that guy was clipping Yard. Imagine that's Petriev or better be hit him on the chin. Jesus, he falls straight through the ropes like Nigel Benn did against Joe McLennan. He won't come back through the ropes, straight through the ropes. Right into, oh man, I'm telling you, that shoulder roll versus Beterbiev, or Beterbiev, whichever one you want to call him, right? Because I don't know which name it is. That right hand landing on the temple of Anthony Yard trying to do a shoulder roll against the ropes. It's like no, and Yard has got no other style, and he's getting clipped more. He's getting clipped more now. So can you imagine getting clipped by Arthur? Oh Lord. In the first round, hey, he's going to get hit harder in that fight than he's been hit in his whole life. When he gets hit with the first punch, hey.
You know what, Ingram? We're doing Frank Warren special. You know, I remember 20 years ago when Ricky Hatton was going to get busted up by Costa Zoo, and Frank got the timing right on that. And nobody ever thought Ricky Hatton was going to beat Costa Zoo, and Frank got the timing right on that. I'm just praying.
But if you look at Costa Zoo, I think he was inactive. I think before that fight he was out of the ring for about half a year or a year, something like that, before he fought Hatton, I'm sure. So there was inactivity before Costa Zoo fought Hatton fought Costa Zoo. So yeah, he got the timing right, but I believe Costa Zoo was inactive as well. So yeah, and it's not like Hatton steamrolled Costa Zoo. Remember that fight went 11 rounds, and it was brutal.
It was brutal. I'm just trying to think here. Conor Ben.
Lord.
He's saying he's innocent. He's released a statement today saying he's been proven innocent and he'll be back in January.
No, that there's anyone was saying there's no chance of him getting a ban. But
all I know is that there's been 2 failed tests in 2 months. That's all I know. I don't know what
that's
to
all
say
I
about
know
that.
as well. So I don't know where Eddie's going with that, and I don't know where Conor Ben's going. You know what I mean? You know what? Yeah. I tell you what. I used to like Chris Eubank Jr. I actually love Chris Eubank Jr. I love him now. I don't care if he wins or he loses. I don't give a shit. I just love the guy. His character is 40%, 30%, 60%. And Liam Smith. I think that's going to be a great fight. But I just like Eubank. I love him. I don't care about his resume. I just think you need characters in boxing. You need guys that are going to make you laugh and guys that you're going to be interested to see them fight. And yeah, I like Eubank Jr. I just wanted to say that, by the way.
Who are the fights that you're looking forward to next year, Ingram? Fights that any fighters that we should keep an eye on? Just anybody fighters that we're looking forward to. People are talking about like Okolie versus Riakporhe. I couldn't give a shit about Okolie versus Riakporhe, to be honest.
I think Riakporhe is going to be a world champion. Definitely, that's another guy. I remember.
Who's the better rapper? Who's the better rapper out of the two? Both rappers. It's who that? Riakporhe, both drillers. They're both drillers. Both of them. AJ's got bars. I rate AJ. All right, we've got Okolie versus Riakporhe. We've got Dillian White. He pushed me. He's got AJ or somebody else, right? I want to see him fight Dubois, by the way. Who have you got in there? I've got Dubois by knockout. I will put myself on the line. I will personally guarantee you that Dubois will knock Dillian White out if they fight. I don't care what anyone says. What have you got?
Man, I don't. After seeing Dubois go down 3 times against a cruiserweight, sorry.
You got Dillian, yeah? Yeah, you can't even do it. You can't even do it because you know what will happen. He pushed me. Mate, when Dubois lands with that right hand clean, Dillian ain't got no head movement, man. I'll tell you what, Ingram. Dillian's got the worst balance I've ever seen, in my life, I don't know if you've seen his balance, but have you seen when he throws the right hand and his head comes right over his front foot and he literally falls over? Tony, I don't know if you've noticed that in the chat as well.
Yeah. No, like when he goes God. Right hand, he's going to do Oyugen from Street Fighter. Oyugen is right round.
Mate, hold on, Ingram, did you see Buddy McGirt? Buddy McGirt said he hadn't even seen Dillian fight. Have you not seen a clip of that yet?
Buddy McGirt saved Dillian White that night. Buddy McGirt, if you listen to Buddy McGirt, if he wasn't for his instructions in the corner, Frankie would have probably knocked White out that night. I'm telling you.
He said he's never seen White fight before. In a fucking press conference, Ingram, he turned up and he was serious. He said, I've never seen him fight, to be honest. Buddy McGirt turned up, yeah? He'd never seen the opponent fight. So he'd never seen Jermaine Franklin before. He says he doesn't watch tapes of opponents. That's what he says. I don't watch tapes of opponents, because I believe that, you shouldn't do that. You should just be prepared for all outcomes. So that's what he said. And then he said he'd never seen Dillian White fight before. I don't think Dillian White will be going back to Buddy McGirt, by the way. I heard some other stories about that as well. But the question is, Dillian White's balance. Like, he's paying these guys 10%, yeah? But when a guy throws a right hand, he's literally falling over himself and squaring up. I've never seen anything like it,
I think that's from the kickboxing background, one. And
yes, I agree.
McGirt is the best. He's a teacher. He's the best trainer he's ever been around. So I think Dillian might stick with him a bit, to be honest.
Wait and see. All right, so who've you got? So White and Dubois, who have you got? Give me a name now. All I want is now. I'm going to give you some fights. I just want names. White and Dubois.
I'm going with Dillian because I've got no faith in Dubois whatsoever. Dubois, he's a tin man, so forget him. The tin man.
I've got Dubois by knockout. All right, let me.
You get knocked down 3 times by a cruiserweight. That fight must have been fixed.
I think Dubois done his right ligament in his knee. And I think that's what he said in the corner at halftime. I think it was a shot, but I think he'd done a right ligament in his knee.
He got punched on his temple and he did a funny dance.
No, because I think when he went to the corner in the break, he said specifically done his knee, and Shane McGuigan said, and you can see he didn't want to put his weight on it, and Shane McGuigan said in the corner, stop throwing left hooks, because obviously when you throw a left hook, you put all your weight on your back foot and you rotate with your front foot. I think he was legit fucked, but we'll see.
Go back and look at the tape. He gets hit on his temple. He gets it on the front of his forehead. Gets hit on the forehead, and he does a sort of silly chicken dance, and that's where his ankle goes. His ankle goes because of the reaction to the punch.
All right.
Don't let Dubois fool you. He got hit with a punch. He got hit with a punch. He did a chicken dance. The chicken dance went wrong, and his ankle went. That's what happened.
Let me ask you about this guy quickly. David Adele. Shevin loves to grind this man walk on, I like him. I think he's boxing as well. Oh, God, here we go.
You know what David Adele reminds me of? He reminds me of Audley Harrison 2.0.
Why?
He sounds like Audley. And listen, I met David. And if you look at my video when I went to the Fury camp, I did a 2-part mini documentary of. And that was when Hugh was preparing to fight Sam Sexton. And that's where I met David Adele. Met him in there. He was still amateur and he was getting sparring with Hughie Fury. I was watching him spar. Nice enough kid. But he reminds me of Audley all over again. He really does remind me of Audley. And because I went to college with Audley, that's what I see the similarities, the way they speak, the way they are, kind of like Marmite. So, I don't know. All
right, let me ask you a question. If they were to fight now, right, David Adele and Fabio Wardley.
Wardley will knock him out.
Knock him out? You think Wardley will knock him out?
Yes, Wardley's a bad man.
He's a bad man. Hold on. Wardley's a bad man. He got fucking... he got his nose broken by a tin of Ambrosia rice pudding, mate. He got in a ring with a tin of Ambrosia rice pudding. He got his nose broken. He got buzzed up.
Hold there. Wait, stop. Hold there. The same thing he did was exactly the same thing that Anderson did on the weekend. Got mad, got hit with a shot, and he went completely berserk. Same thing happened with Wardley. Wardley can pick with both hands. Listen, I'd rather watch Wardley fight than watch Dubois fight. I'd rather watch Wardley fight than watch White fight. I'd rather watch Wardley fight than Adele fight, whatever his name is. Sorry.
Who do you suspect carries more power? Nathan Ambrosia Rice Pudding Gorman or David Adele?
Come on.
No, I'm just asking you. Genuinely.
Oh, well, okay. What did you do against Sokolowski?
Yeah, that was years ago. I think Adele's improved a bit, No, seriously, genuinely, I look at him. Do you know what I think, Ingram? Honestly, I don't think he's gonna be better than Dubois, right? But I think Adele has got a little bit more to him in his shot selection than Dubois has. Dubois is just a fucking jab right hand merchant. Dubois only throws 2 shots, jab right hand, and he throws the occasional left hook. But Dane Dubois is very rigid. He doesn't really vary his combinations. David Adele does little things in the ring. You see Adele, honestly, he does little things in the ring that are actually quite advanced. Like, I see him in the ring, right? And what he does is, hold on, what he does sometimes is, he even does the little Lomachenko trick, which I try and do in sparring, where if a guy comes with a high guard, you know, you break their guard by just pulling their hand down and then shooting through the guard. He does little things like that, shooting through the gaps, good combinations. Right. I think he's actually got more skill than actual Dubois. More skill, more skill.
Let's see what happens when somebody actually decides to put it on him and put it on his chin.
He'll get ironed out, but I'm not sure that'll be Walker. But he'll get ironed out.
After all that, he'll get ironed out. I'm sorry, I'm just being honest. Get ironed out.
I'm just not sure it'll be Wardley, innit? I'm just not sure, innit?
I'm more sure of Wardley. I'm more sure of him. I'll tell you why I'm more sure of him, because he fought Molina. And Molina can punch. He
took a fucking dive, man. Do you see Molina? That fucking fight, Molina. Oh my God.
Stop.
Molina was hugging the canvas like a newborn hugging a teddy bear.
Wait. Molina versus AJ, is that not a dive?
Nah, he got wiped out in that fight.
He got wiped out. He didn't want
by a combination. He didn't want it. He didn't want it.
He didn't want to fight.
But his knockout against some of these Fabio Wardley knockdowns, right? Fabio Wardley's had at least 2 fights, yeah, and some of these knockdowns have been so questionable, you know, like they've been so questionable. Hold on a minute. Some of Fabio Wardley's fights have been so questionable. Yeah, we need to check bank accounts. You know, we need. Dubois came back and got 2 knockdowns, man. He got 2 knockdowns, bro. Dubois got 2 legit knockdowns.
He got dropped, and then the guy backs off of him in the next round. Frank Warren must have flown right around that ring and gave him the brown envelope. So look, mate. Look, do me a favour. Oh, do me a favour, mate. With a shoulder roll. Do me a favour.
All right, well, we got chat. You decide. Leave a comment. Whose fights do you think are more fixed, Dubois or Wardley's? I think Wardley. I think some of Wardley's opponents. Yeah, to be honest, mate. No disrespect in any way, but I honestly think when Keir Starmer comes in power, I hope he does an audit of some of these guys' bank accounts. You know, some of these Wardley opponent bank accounts. We used to do an audit, innit? Because I'm sure if you do an audit, yeah, you'll see, yeah, mysterious amounts of money get wired in, yeah, on a Sunday morning, innit? Because some of these opponents, innit, just dropping like flies, innit? They're dropping like flies out of nowhere, not even getting touched. They're dropping like flies. But that Gorman thing, I'm giving him.
I'll tell you one thing. That guy, Kevin Lerea,
Kevin Lerea,
that Dubois with. I'm surprised his head wasn't left in his stance. That uppercut, he took his head off his shoulders.
Yeah, well, lucky Dubois got much in their head to begin with. Right, let's wrap up. So we've done AJ, we've done Dubois. I'm just trying to think if there's anybody else. I don't think you give a shit about any of the women's boxing, Ebony Bridges and all that. We can skip that. That's a little rubbish. Yeah, agreed on that.
I was glad to see a win. You know, I don't know.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on from that. Joe Joyce, he's got a big year coming up, isn't he?
Yeah. I wasn't too impressed with the old Joe Joyce trying to tag team with Usyk. I did not like that at all.
Joe Joyce would give anybody a fight right now, I reckon. I mean, no one's done to Parker what he's done. I mean, he brutalised him.
By the way, while I'm at it, my friend has done a documentary on Joe Joyce's mum, Marvel. You need to get a chance, watch the documentary. It's absolutely amazing. He was in Lagos recently telling me about the documentary. The team were telling me about the Joe Joyce documentary.
Okay.
That when you get a chance.
Absolutely. Joe Joyce there. Listen, sky's the limit, man. Chevin saying Joe Joyce and Ortiz. Just give me a name, Ingram. Joe Joyce or Ortiz. Chevin wants to see 50-year-old Cubans get knocked spark out. He's still hanging on.
I'd like to see AJ fight Ortiz, actually.
For what? What do you want to see AJ fight a 50-year-old man for? Leave the man alone. The man swam over from Cuba. For what? Listen, the man swam over from Cuba, yeah, in shark-infested water 50 years ago to get to the USA and have freedom, all right? He had a few fights and he made a few million. Leave him alone, man. This is 50-year-old men getting in the ring with AJ. The man swam across fucking shark-infested waters, yeah, from Cuba to fucking America to get away from communism. Yeah, man's 50 years old. He's earned a bit of money. Let him have a nice life. You want to throw him in the ring with AJ? What are you throw him in the ring with AJ for? He couldn't take a punch of Charles Martin. Charles Martin had him on the fucking floor about 3 times in their fight. Charles Martin had him doing fucking chicken dance in their fight. You want to put him in the ring with AJ?
You forgot what happened to
Yeah,
Charles
he got
Martin.
iced. He got iced. Yeah, but AJ will absolutely finish him. You know when AJ hurts Luis Ortiz and that's the end of the fight, yeah? AJ gonna go in and end it, man. This ain't no Charles Martin business. AJ's gonna end it. Do you want to have the blood of a 50-year-old man on your conscience? If you don't, yeah. Do you know what I want to see, Ingram? I want to see Luis Ortiz versus a nice mug of Horlicks, yeah, and a hot mug of cocoa and a pair of slippers. That's what I want to see.
You know what a good fight I'd like to see? I'd like to see Frank Sanchez versus Joe Joyce.
Is that the Frank Sanchez you struggled to put away? What's his name? The bloke who got iced by Huey Fury. The Razan, the one that Dubois iced in 3 rounds. No, it wasn't. Yeah. It was someone else. No, was it? Oh no, was it Hammer? Was it Hammer? Was it him or was it Hammer? It was Hammer. It was Hammer. It was Hammer. Sorry, yeah, Hammer. Huey Fury got Hammer out of there. Stopped him, didn't he? In X rounds, and Frank Sanchez struggled and went the distance.
Hammer stopped David Price, who was trained by the Hall of Fame great Dave Colwell.
10 years ago. Oh, fuck yeah, now. Right. Hold on a minute. Before we go, Huey Fury. He's going to carry on boxing.
He's meant to be fighting, what's this guy? Michael Hunter.
They ain't fighting. Michael Hunter said he's... Who do you think wins that fight if they do fight?
Michael
Huey's talented. Yeah, you've given up the ghost on Huey Fury now, yeah?
No, I haven't given up the ghost about Huey Fury. I think he's...
Yo, say it, Ingram. Before we go, say it. Is he going to be world champion? Say it. Is he going to be world champion?
He's still young and he can be world champion. He's still young and
Go on.
He's still young and can be world champion.
At what? Boxing or checkers or chess or tiddlywinks? What are we talking about here?
I he's still Twister. Young and can still be world champion. You know, he's 20 what? How old is he now?
I hear rumours there's a Buckaroo World Championships coming up. Maybe he's going to fancy enrolling in that.
Listen, you know he's got a lot of experience there, you know, and heavyweights as they get older they mature, as you know. So I mean, if he's still boxing,
how old is he? I mean, how old is he though? Keep hearing he's young. He's been young since fucking 10 years ago. Last time he was young, I had hair on my head. How old is he? Let me have a look.
I don't know, he's still young.
Oh, he's 28. He's saying. Is Google saying he's 28 though? So apparently he's got 10 years left in the game at least.
Yeah, he's still learning on the job. It's all right. He's learning on the job.
He's 20. He's 28.
But look at the guys he's fought though. Look at the guys that he's fought. Huey Fury. He's fought some real quality operators.
Has he beat any quality operators?
I didn't say that. He's fought some quality operators.
Let's have a look. I'm taking the piss. All right. He beat Hammer. Not bad.
Yeah.
He beat Whack.
Whack, yeah.
Yeah. He beat Samuel Peter in 2019.
There you go.
2019 Samuel Peter. He beat.
Yeah, he's still
and then after that, yeah, it's Sam Sexton.
He beat Sam Sexton.
Dominic Gwynn.
Yeah. Look at the guys. Okay, look at the guys he's lost to then. Let's put the guys he's lost to.
Yeah, he's lost to some good names. Povetkin,
Yeah.
Pulev,
Yeah.
Parker. That was dodgy.
All right. That Parker fight, he beat Parker. So let's have it right. He should have lost. He should have won against Parker. So he would have been WBO heavyweight champion of the world. So he would have been world champion. That was a dodgy decision against Parker.
That was a bit dubious. We'll have to see. I thought Parker might have done enough, but yeah, I agree. He may have felt hard done by. All right, Ingram, I'm out. Listen, maybe Christmas, mate. Maybe Christmas.
Let's do a Christmas special, bro.
Yeah, but I might talk about stuff other than boxing though as well. You up for that?
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah,
We should.
Yeah. All right, I'll send you a mail when it's time. Yeah, and might talk about some food and stuff.
Yeah, why not? If I pull out some of these Nigerian dishes, why not? Oh, got a KFC there. They're gonna have a KFC round the corner from my house. Finally, thank flipping goodness. And I have to travel flipping 20 miles.
Are you back in the UK for Christmas?
No, bro. I'm staying here for a while. Doing some work here. Crime prevention work with the young people here.
That's heavy.
Yeah,
that's really cool, man. That's really cool.
Joining it, bro.
All right, brother. It's good to hear from you.
Doesn't seem a great time to be coming back. Have you got your lamps out yet, mate? And candles?
Say that again?
Your lamps and candles.
What lamps and candles? What are you talking about?
Blackout. I heard that you guys are you're gonna get blackouts during the winter. In the
what,
UK.
down here? I don't know, mate.
That's what I heard.
That cost of living crisis don't affect me. I'm a Tory voter. That don't affect Tories. Only affects Labour voters. In this house, we turn the lights on. Here's a tip: don't have kids you can't afford, and you'll be all right. Cost of living crisis.
I mean, is it that bad in the UK? Because I mean, so many stories.
Sorry, but I was just telling Tony if he wants to come on and say one last thing, he's welcome to do so. Yeah, the UK's fucked, basically. I've got to be careful what I say or my channel's going to get zapped, but there's just a lot of complaining, basically, Ingram. You know, people can't pay their electric bills, and it is bad, but I had a whole conversation about it today, really. Let me put it this way before I go. I had a conversation today with somebody, right? He said, I'm not joking, he said, you know, basically saying that, you know, I've just had a 1-year-old child, yeah? And I can't afford to, like, you know, keep the child warm because I can't afford to do the electric bill and stuff like that. And I got in trouble for saying, right, no offense, but you had a child during COVID because his child was like 1 year old. So I said to him, like, no disrespect, but like, you know, what made you want to have a child during a pandemic? Because like pandemic's one of the most economically unstable times, isn't it? Like people getting furloughed, this and that. Do you know what I mean? Businesses were getting, you know. And I said to him, a child costs 300k a year, 300k sorry, to raise to the age of 18. It costs 300k, didn't it? So if you haven't got a spare 300k, it's probably not the best idea. So you know, people jumped on me for saying that, you know, you should save money before having children. So I got hit up for that. So there's a lot of stuff like that. There's a lot of stuff going on like that. So it is what it is. But all I'll say is this: apparently there's a cost of living crisis. I shit you not, Ingram. I'm going to McDonald's and it's rammed. I'm going to Greg's, it's fucking rammed. You wouldn't ever think there was a cost of living crisis in there. In fact, the delivery drivers are doing more business than ever before. So I don't know what's going on with that. There's just all kinds of things going on. But yeah. It is what it is.
And Keir Starmer's on his way in soon. It's just a matter of time.
He is. And that's it. And everything's going to be fixed. So we've got lots to look forward to. Hopefully he can fix the... No, seriously. Keir Starmer's coming. Everything will be fixed. And I'll leave it at this, Ingram. Like I said before, I'm hoping he brings in the Colonel Sanders, a.k.a. KFC, to come and run boxing, innit? Because we've got fighters these days that are having problems with contaminated chicken, innit? There's all these problems with contaminated chicken, innit? Like all this KFC's got clomid in it, innit? So what we need to do, Ingram, is bring in Colonel Sanders to regulate boxing. That's what Keir Starmer needs to do. You know, stop all these dodgy chicken eggs from getting involved in all these gyms.
By the way, I want you to go and check out. There's a video I was listening to the other day. Dana White was talking about how the structure of boxing is and how much of a lie De La Hoya is. My God, he said what one guy earned in sponsorship alone was more than what De La Hoya paid his whole card of Golden Boy. I think he paid, like, top fighter on there was paid $3,500.
We'll have a look. I mean, Dana White's in some trouble of his own, isn't he? He's in trouble of his own for not paying his own fighters. Jake Paul's putting up the pressure on him.
Check out that Dana White thing, though. Do check it out.
I am out. Right, I'm out. I'm going to PG, if you're listening, I'm going to watch your sparring video while I watch the Brooklyn Nets. So I'm going to watch the Brooklyn Nets on one screen. PG, I'm going to watch your sparring video, and I'm going to send you a video tonight and get that over and done with. Ingram, I will message you. It'd be great if you could come on for Christmas. It would probably just be me and you. There might be the old people coming in and out, but it would just be me and you. But you chat about Christmas food and stuff.
Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
All right, Ingram. See you soon, bro, yeah?
Thanks for coming on. You so much. Appreciate it. Thank you, everybody in the room.
Catch you in a bit. Of course.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Catch you soon. Guys, I'm out. I've got a sparring video to watch. and you got a lot of entertainment tonight. Yeah, and peace, get Riku in. Tony, you're welcome to come in on Christmas. If I'm still alive, I'm quite ill at the minute with some problems, but we'll try and do a show on Christmas. So the idea will be, if people just want to call in, say Merry Christmas, say what they're having for dinner, how's their Christmas going. People want to send pics in, I'll give you a Twitter address. You can email me some pics of your Christmas dinner, or you can send me some pics on Twitter. I'll send you some pics of my Christmas dinner, and we'll just have a general chat. I'd love to get Riku in for a bit as well, because Riku does his Norwegian Christmas, didn't he? And yeah, I'll just let you know. Like I said, when Ingram comes on, it's a night off, because Ingram knows how to run a show by himself. I don't really have to do much talking, so we can go through that, yeah? So fingers crossed, all right, guys? PG, I will be with you in a second. Take care of yourselves and each other.